Scott Bair is with AtlantaFalcons.com. Writes about the Falcons down there in Miami as we are trying to get the latest mic on what's going on with these practices. They practice today and tomorrow, guys. And then Friday is the first preseason game against the Dolphins. And, Scott, appreciate you jumping on with us here on the waitfor.com hotline. First question everybody wants to know is, what did you make of Ritter? Seeing a different defense. You know, I know they had some red zone activity today. What did you think about Desmond Ritter?
Yeah, I mean, considering that he was ultimately practicing on the surface of the sun, I think that things went pretty well down here. You know, like it's a breezy, comfortable, feels like 104, but I think that there was a lot of good work done. The Falcons ran a ton during team drills, so we saw a lot of Robinson kind of working with the first team, Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson, offensive line versus their defensive line. But I did like the fact that Desmond Ritter was able to kind of make plays on time, meaning that he's hitting guys in stride. We saw Mac Hollins haul in a few nice ones. And look, Miami was trying to set a physical tone early. I think they put Drake and Kyle on the ground within the first, period. And I liked how Atlanta responded to that afterward. It was a good little gut check, and I think that it's about time in this camp where all these kind of experiences are well-timed and well-needed.
Yeah, Scott, you're kind of touching on what Carl and I were talking about last week with Desmond Ritter. Pull, Carl likes to say. And I know when they do all those red zone drills at the end of the 11-on-11, sometimes we're like, come on, Desmond, get it out of there. So you're saying that looked better so far in Miami?
Yeah, I mean, better. We still need to see kind of continual ramping up of kind of being on time and getting rid of the football. I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job of giving him time because, look, it was feisty, but in like a controlled way. We didn't see any brawls or fights or anything that was a distraction from that. So, yes, I thought that he did well. I still agree with you guys that he can do a little bit better, especially when you get in towards the goal line.
All right, let's talk about the defense, man. We heard A.J. Terrell talking about the one-on-ones. These guys have speed. What did you think about the corners specifically and our DBs going up against this wide receiving core? I
mean, look, Tyreek Hill he's going to do Tyreek Hill things. Sometimes he's going to put his foot in the ground and threaten you with the speed and then cut across it. I think Trey Flowers kind of had to respect that speed and kind of got tossed off in a one-on-one drills. But overall, I thought the Falcons defensive backs held strong. Jesse Bates and AJ and D. Alford, I thought, had a pretty good day. And I thought they did well on the back end. I thought overall defensively, I thought the Falcons defensive line kind of held strong as well. Because, look, when you're talking about Waddle and Hill, that's another level in terms of speed, especially compared to the big bodies that the Atlanta Falcons have, right? You have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and to go up against some of those burners, talking to AJ and Jesse after the practice, they really value those reps, especially when they're playing in that 11-on-11. Look, if it's Tyreek versus any one singular defensive back, he might make that guy look silly. But how did the Falcons secondary coordinate itself to have help over the top to be able to handle that speed? I thought that they did well, and I thought it was good because Miami's offense is so much different than what the Falcons run. It was good to get another look at a different system. I think that they'll be better for it.
It is Scott Bair, guys, from Falcons.com. He's down there in South Florida watching the scrimmage, which wrapped up earlier today. Yeah, by the way, if you talk to the Dolphins social media people tomorrow, Scott, tell them it's totally unfair to have a video of Trey Flowers trying to D up the cheetah one-on-one. Because that's just, as to your point, that's more like a safety because he's a big dude. What about the offensive line? If you saw, I know it's tough to see in the trenches, but what did Bergeron, what did the offensive line look like?
Yeah, I mean, they were all the way down at the opposite end of the field, so I feel kind of less confident about evaluating those guys, but you can feel Matt Bergeron's strength. I feel like I've said that a number of times, but he's just one of those guys. He's not going to be intimidated. He's not going to be kind of like overpowered, shall we say. I really thought that Jake Matthews was doing Jake Matthews type things. I haven't mentioned Drew Dahlman in a negative way in public or in private. I think he started to grow into his own regarding his responsibilities up front, and I think that is important. Lindstrom is Lindstrom. You know, Caleb had some good moments. He got beat once. but we're talking, once in 70 reps. But, just in terms of flash plays, I thought the offensive line held up well. I think tomorrow is going to be one of those things. Are we going to see enhanced physicality? Are we going to see it cranked up? Because it is hot, and these practices have been long. They went from 9:30ish to about 12:15. That's a good amount of work. There was a lot of situational stuff. And, again, Falcons ran a ton. And I think that that's good, trying to see how they're working that kind of wide outside zone, how it's functioning against a different defense. I thought it was pretty impactful, especially when Tyler was back there. He really seems to understand this system and can get that full head of steam going to try to break through the line.
Let's talk about the most electrifying player this season. I'm talking about Bijan Robinson. Scott, how did he look? I saw he caught a touchdown in the red zone activity.
Yeah, I thought overall it was a good day for him, especially because he was getting more first-team work than I can recall seeing. And I think that's important because in the regular season, he's going to be running behind the starting five. So why not give him some reps and some opportunity? But he did have some of those flash plays. He can do this thing. The only way that I can describe it is if you've ever seen Top Gun and then like Maverick says that he's going to hit the brakes and everybody is going to fly right by, that is Robinson in a nutshell. He does that, hit the brakes, everybody flies right by, and then he gets back to top speed really quickly. He also has that change of direction where he can plant his foot, get everybody going one way, and he goes the opposite way. We saw that a few times. And again, we're seeing him line up in the slot a ton and having him break out from the backfield and do different things. And I think that he's just an exciting player. And there's always a couple moments in a practice where he flashes. And I think to see him flash against a different defensive system, something that he's not kind of seeing over and over again, I think that those were pluses.
Right.
And again, especially with him working with that first unit, I think that is something that he needs to do more and more as we get towards week one.
So were Dolphin fans doing what Falcon fans do? Like, watching Bijan doing his thing. Hey, how about we're talking, by the way, with Scott Bair from the Falcons.com. We watched scrimmage today down in Miami. Edge rushers, I know we talked a lot about, and we know the older guys are going to be solid. What about the young guys? Anything stand out to you today?
Yeah, I really thought, and I think this is a good topic because Zach Harrison flashed more than once. And look, he's built like a creative player in Madden. Just his length and his size and his strength really impressed me. That he won with some straight up bull rushes in like both in one-on-ones. He has long arms. He tipped one or two passes straight up that I think was encouraging. You're just continuing to see these guys flash. Now look, if you're a coach and you're breaking down practice tape, they're probably going to bring up, well, he made this mistake here, and here, right? So he's not perfect, but we're seeing the tools and the physicality and the reason why he was a five-star guy who went to Ohio State. Arnold Ebiketie, too. I didn't know the guy had this inside spin move that he went around two Miami tackles really quickly. I thought he was impressive in those one-on-one drills, and that's what you need, right? Because you sort of figure Calais and Grady and David Onyemata, they're going to do what they're going to do, right? So how is this defensive front going to be dynamic? It's going to rely on that second rotational wave, Ebiketie, Harrison, Carter, guys like that, guys who can fit in here and make one of those game-changing plays and kick that sack number up. Now, again, it's all joint practices, but to see these young guys flash every now and then, you're going to need to keep seeing more and more of that. If they can do that, they gain confidence of the coaches, and that's how you get more snaps on game day.
Yeah, you mentioned they put Drake and Kyle on the ground in the first period, being a little bit physical with them. Did either one of those guys pop, though, today? I mean, because I need to see a big season from Kyle Pitts, Scott. I mean, it's just we saw the rookie year. We know what he's capable of. Hurt 6 games last year. I have high expectations for him coming into this season. How did he look today, just individually going up against those DBs for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he was good, and he did make a few plays, but I also kind of grade him on a curve because for the fact that he hasn't missed any practices since he's been working back from this knee injury, right? Is he peak Kyle right now? I don't know. Maybe not, but I think that's okay because the point is to continue to get him better through repetition, through endurance, through strength building, to get him to be Pete Kyle by week 1. And I think that that's the ultimate goal. But we are seeing moments of him. But I think that the longer that he goes through this practice process, the more of that dynamic quality we are going to see. Now, Drake London is Drake London, right? He's a big body. He knows how to use his physicality. He and Mac Hollins are big guys that play big, right? That they use their size, their strength. They're not afraid to mix it up. And I think that is important. But back to your point, right? Kyle Pitts can be that truly dynamic player that we saw as a rookie. I think we're still seeing him work into it a little bit, and that we're going to see better Kyle in the future, but you see flashes of it here and there as we progress through the preseason.
And I know we talked about this because it was news. Arthur Smith did talk about the injury for what it was worth. It sounded like he got kicked. I know Clark Phillips has been a big story, but did it look like a superficial, like a bruise, or should we be freaked out about this?
Yeah, it happened right in front of me, and I still didn't get a great gauge of its severity. I mean, he's in a walking boot, but what does that mean anymore? Right. Like, they throw walking boots on everybody these days.
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, everybody sees carted off and they think he's an ender. Sometimes it's just a long ways to the training facility, and getting a ride is easier than having to walk all that way. So we're going to have to see, I hate to sound like Arthur Smith here, but once you get some imaging, and it's not one of those things that I think that you've got to throw him right back out there. But I do think that Clark Phillips had a really good start to camp. Any sort of injury setback for a guy who needs repetition, especially against raw speed, like the Dolphins have, when you're missing that time, that's not good. How long he'll miss, still up in the air, and we've seen a couple of injuries to defensive backs, and I think it speaks to the reason why Terry Fontenot went out and got so much of that quality depth that they've built there is for situations like this. Now, with Jeff Okudah, it seems like they dodged a bullet there, and that he should be back early in the regular season. I'm sure that the Falcons are hoping for similarly positive news when it comes to Clark Phillips.
Scott, man, you're going to join us tomorrow. Our guy down there, AtlantaFalcons.com writer, checking out practice. So tomorrow we'll get a sense of what happens, and then we'll head to the preseason game on Friday. But we appreciate you jumping on with us, man. Great perspective on how the Falcons look today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time, gentlemen. Talk to you soon.
All right. Got it. Yeah, everybody said it was hot. I got to be honest. I know it's a slight difference between Georgia hot and humid and Miami hot and humid, but I was kind of surprised to hear that the players were felt like they walked into an open oven door when they got down there. The practice facility is right next to Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, so a lot of concrete. Formula One tracks right around there. There's a lot of heat down there, brother.